Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we are going to be talking about what could be the most compelling UFO footage that has ever been captured, and this is not my opinion. The general consensus among UFO researchers is that this is probably the single best piece of evidence that there are extraterrestrials visiting our world. It's deep in the mountains, and for decades, this place has been famous for strange lights that appear above the mountains. There were even reports of these lights going all the way back to the 14th century. Alright, so right off the bat I should mention that Hessdalen isn't just one mysterious incident. This was a group of scientists who were dedicated to studying these lights and any other strange phenomena that might occur. They had set up multiple cameras in the area, and these cameras managed to capture some incredible footage. These lights were moving extremely slow across the sky, like it was almost like they were floating. But when you speed up the footage, it makes it easier to see what's going on. These lights have been observed consistently since the Middle Ages. And during this time frame, there was even a helicopter pilot who saw them while flying his helicopter. He said that the lights were moving erratically and didn't seem to follow any sort of flight path. And you've probably heard people claim that they read nothing more than misidentified aircraft, whether balloons, satellites, drones, etc. And in the case of the Hessdalen lights, that's not the case. First off, I should mention that the fact that these lights were only recorded by cameras that were set up specifically to record them leads me to believe that these are not random things that were just caught by accident. If you watch the video, you'll see that these lights seem to move at their own leisure. These lights were moving incredibly slow and they seem to be floating above the mountains. That doesn't sound like your typical airplane or drone or anything like that. It sounds like a UFO. They are not following any sort of path or trajectory. They are moving in a way that seems completely random. These were lights that were being observed, meaning that they weren't just random lights that were captured by accident. I always love reading what you guys have to say. But until then, let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up. And again, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. I promise to bring you the most amazing videos about mysterious discoveries, ancient archaeology, unexplained phenomena, and maybe even some aliens if I can find them. Are these lights proof that there are extraterrestrials visiting our world? Or do you think that there is another explanation for them? Someone or something was out there watching them, and that person or thing knew that it would take dozens of cameras to catch whatever was going on. Other reports say it was near a lake called Lake Hoyvat. I guess that just leaves us with one question. Why is the government covering this up? What do they know about the Hessdalen lights that they don't want us to know? And in that same time period, there were thousands of witnesses that saw them as well. There was even a news story done on this incident, which garnered international attention. In fact, they've done their best to cover it up. I mean, seriously, if you search high and low, you will struggle to find any kind of official report on the Hessdalen lights. The United States Air Force did release a report back in 2008, but that's about it. Now, I don't know about you, but that's pretty compelling evidence that something strange was going on up above those mountains. And other reports say it was near the top of a mountain called Hessdalen. It's hard to deny that these lights weren't actually there. And it's even harder to deny that they were moving in a way that is completely random and not man-made. But the exact location of this incident is still unknown. I'll leave a link to that video below if you haven't seen it yet. There were accounts of strange lights, strange objects, and unusual experiences reported here over the years. So let's talk about these lights. Let us talk about why they are important, and let us talk about what may have really happened up above those mountains in 2007. This is the Hessdalen lights from 2007, and if you have never seen it, it is amazing. This video comes from a small village in Norway called Hessdalen. Before we get into it though, I just want to ask that if you are new here, please hit that subscribe button. I know I ask this every time, but you guys are awesome. You're always commenting and sharing and liking, and I appreciate every one of you so very much. With that said, let's go ahead and dive into this case. Some people say that this looks like drones or even Chinese lanterns, but I gotta tell you, as someone who has flown drones in the past, these are definitely not drones. Drones can't fly backwards like that, and they also don't just randomly change course like that and hover. Anyone who has flown a drone knows that the second those batteries start to die, that thing is coming straight back down to Earth. Also, if you look closely, you can see how these lights aren't really being affected by the wind at all. Behind those lights, you can see trees and other objects moving because of the wind. The lights themselves don't seem to be affected by it whatsoever. but today we are talking specifically about an incident in April of 2007. In 2007, the Hessdalen lights were recorded by cameras set up at a research station. We see these bright white lights floating through the sky, and it looks like they are changing directions and moving in ways that don't make any sense. I should also mention that the footage that you're seeing here is actually sped up. As for where exactly this took place, well, no one really seems to know. Some reports say it was in a place called the Hessdalen Mountain. However, what is known is that between April of 2007 and June of 2007, these lights were observed hundreds of times. There were many people who came forward claiming that they saw these lights as well. But perhaps the strangest part of all of this was that, during the investigation, soil samples were taken from an area where the lights had appeared, and those soil samples contained elements that are unnaturally found in the area. Of course, you've probably seen plenty of videos like this before. First off, if you watched my video on the Phoenix Lights, then you'll know that there was an official report done by the United States Air Force on the Hessdalen lights, and they basically said that there was no logical explanation for them. But now, let's get back to this video here, not to mention the fact that if you watch this footage and compare it to normal man-made light sources, you'll notice that these lights are behaving in a way that is completely different from any man-made object. In addition to that, remember that this is the footage that was captured sped up. And as for what the government has to say about all of this, well, they haven't said much. There is one report from the Norwegian Air Traffic Control, but it's extremely vague and doesn't really say much. Personally, I think that this is some of the most compelling evidence that there are extraterrestrials visiting our world. Of course, feel free to disagree with me in the comments. With that said, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and goodbye.